Well, as you join us tonight for this Poole versus Oxford Elite League B encounter, we've got two almost unrecognisable teams here in the pits. They go under the names of Poole and Oxford, but they're quite different to that we've seen before. Unfortunately, Poole are without Tony Rickardson and David Rood, who are on duty in Sweden, and they've also lost the services of Bjarne Pedersen last evening when he fractured a collarbone. On the other side of the pits, it's even worse, because Nicky Pedersen is no longer a member of the Oxford team after a falling out with the Oxford management. His place is sensationally taken by Greg Hancock, and he comes back into the Elite League. And a very welcome return for Greg it will be too. They've also made changes with Craig Boyce leaving the Oxford setup, making way for Andy Smith to return, and they're also drafting in Matej FERJAN tonight. So it's all change. Let's see what we can find out. Okay, well, to start on this side of the pitch, Neil, it looks as though we've got two teams almost unrecognisable this evening. Yeah,
that's right. I think, you know, with injuries and international duties, that dictates what we're going to have to do this evening. But, yeah, we've got a fairly good lineup.
You've drafted in a very powerful guest in for Tony.
That's right, yes, Scotty Nicholls, who rode for us here in 99, 2000. You know, great little rider. Showed some good form in the Grand Prix, and hopefully tonight do a good job for us.
Obviously, the blow was Bjarne also that's unexpectedly injured, unfortunately with a collarbone injury. Is it Craig that's taking Bjarne's place?
Yeah, that's right. Craig came in at late notice. Very grateful to Craig for doing that, because a lot of riders, not saying running above Craig, but you know, a lot of them riding in Sweden last night were out of country, so Craig stepped in for us. But yeah, Bjarne, it sounds like he's taken a bit of a nasty one, compound fracture of the collarbone and the shoulder, and so we don't know too much at this moment in time, but hopefully you know, we'll do well.
Unfortunately, though, there's still going to be empty space in the full side pitch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I've got to sort of juggle around and try and use the rider replacement to the best effect tonight, because say Oxford have chucked a whole new team in us this evening from what we expected the race against, so we'll have to see what happens.
Absolutely, and coming on to that subject, how difficult is it to you as a team manager to assess the opposition, particularly the likes of Craig and coming back in, and haven't really been seen in the UK yet?
No, that's right, but obviously we've all seen Greg in the Grand Prix, and you know, he's a class act. I mean, I'm sure he'll do a great job. First meeting back tonight here at Poole, but as I say, I think yeah, he will do his job. I mean, he's basically replacing Nicky, so they haven't strengthened up in that front. But then we've got Andy Smith and Matej FERJAN. Matej again used to ride for us, so he knows his way around the Wimborne Road circuit. And yeah, Andy Smith been, you know, champing at the bit to get an Elite League place, and now he's got one, and I'm sure he'll be able to prove a point as well.
Okay, well, the Pirates have got plenty to prove as well. Good luck. Do the business, as they say.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, on the other side of the pits, we have Nigel Wagstaff, and Nigel, I've got to say, caused something of a sensation this week with the massive changes at Oxford, and most of all, of course, Nicky Pedersen. Now, I know it's perhaps not fair to Nicky to talk about it because he can't say his side of the story, but perhaps you can give us your impressions.
Well, other than to say that, you know, there are times in sport, whether it's speedway, rugby, football or whatever, that, you know, there is a parting of the ways, and unfortunately I guess things became a bit strained within the camp, and certain things happened that I felt I had to address, and that coupled with the fact that things have gone a little bit flat anyway, things were a bit subdued. We need to freshen it up, and I guess people will always talk about the Nicky scenario, probably more so than the other side of the coin, where we bring Greg in, which, you know, on a business front is massive business to possibly Oxford and British Speedway, because everybody probably would and should want to see him. And, you know, we've looked at the whole scenario through the side, and a bit like Boise here, Andy Smith's been doing a great job, whether I asked him to go into the Conference League side, whether I asked him to represent the club at British League Cup level. And he, to be fair, on the back of some decent results, especially a maximum last week, deserves his opportunity. You know, you can't bring him along and not use him. And, you know, Matej FERJAN was available at the same time, and it all fitted nicely in. So it's a complete package. We needed to do things. Things were probably not quite right in the pits, and I made the decision, and you live by the sword, you have to die by the sword.
Well, it is absolutely fantastic to have Greg back in British Speedway. You're the man that's done that. Many have tried, but you succeeded.
Well, it may well be looked upon that way. I mean, I did speak to Greg at the beginning of the season, and our discussions were friendly and amicable and businesslike. And when the opportunity arose again to look at it, he was very receptive. He is a true professional. I would put him in the same category as Todd WILTSHIRE and probably Leigh ADAMS and Tony Rickardson. They're special people who've supported World Speedway and British Speedway in particular for a number of years. And from my point of view, it's a pleasure to work with them. And I've been able to bring Greg back. He's very keen, he's very eager, and being an American, it's good for Oxford. They've never had an American ride for them. We do have Coventry on Friday, which will be Greg and Billy. So it all looks good. But you know, as an American, we all know they've got a special quality within the pits, and probably I've admitted saying that may have been missing a little bit. So you know, we look at the whole scenario, and hopefully, you know, Greg's stay with us will be a fruitful one, an enjoyable one, and we'll get some decent results.
Well, that was leading me on nicely, because I was going to ask you about your future plan. Obviously, this is early days for you at Silver Machine at Oxford, and perhaps now you feel more settled about going into a second year.
Well, it's always been my ambition, and I get on very well with Vanessa and Steve. Get on exceptionally well with Vanessa because she's always around. You know, she comes and helps if we've got a problem on the tills. You've got a problem anywhere, she always rolls her sleeves up and helps. You know, she's one of those special people in Speedway, to be fair to Vanessa. You know, she's probably in the bar now doing stuff for Boise's testimonial. And we've agreed what we would like to try and do, and if I can secure some sort of deal with the stadium whereby it's ongoing for another year, and that is continuous, then I would very much like to continue my time there. I've enjoyed it. There's some very nice people there, and bearing in mind, going back to the mid-80s, I used to go and support Simon there, and Troy as well. They were very special friends of mine. And you look in the pits now with Greg, you've got Mick, who was a mechanic of both Troy and Simon. So, you know, what goes round tends to come around, and it's, you know, it's special times. And, you know, Speedway's a wonderful sport. It's very family-orientated, and, you know, you do have lasting relationships. I was only speaking to Troy Butler on the phone yesterday. And, you know, while speaking to Greg, you know, there's little things that, you know, we talk about, and remember when we met there, remember when we did that. We all go back a long way, and it's nice to be able to work together again now.
Okay, well, I think we all take our hat off to what you've already achieved at Oxford, and I hope that continues long into the future. Well done, and thanks for talking to us particularly.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Well, it's absolutely wonderful to have the opportunity to welcome you back, and I'm so pleased that Poole is the first place you're going to be riding in the Elite League again. Tell me, Greg, Nigel Wagstaff has contacted you. I think half of the Elite League teams have contacted you, but this time you said yes.
Yeah, I did, and you know what? All I can say is really it came at a good time. I had various long negotiations with Ipswich. They got the closest, but I wasn't ready at that stage, and now, you know, Nigel called me at a great time, and it's all played in good for me, and it sounds like it's going to be okay for the team. So yeah, it's nice to be back and out of Poole at all places.
Well, I know that you have longed to get back into the Elite League. Is it difficult, though, to come back in halfway through the season?
You know what? I know the tracks, and I know the racing, what it's all about, so hopefully it won't be that difficult. But yeah, everybody else is in full swing here, so yeah, I need a few races to get myself going, but I'll be all right. And
you'll be in amongst familiar territory, of course, because with Todd and Sebastian in the Grand Prix, you'll be seeing your regular mates.
Yeah, that's right. It's not going to be too much of a, you know, a strange sight for me. So a lot of these guys I've never ridden with as teammates, but it'll be the first time, and I should say it's a welcoming, fresh experience.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure Oxford will benefit from having you back in the side.
Well, I hope that I can contribute something and help them to carry on in their aims to try and achieve the championship. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be good for me too.
Okay, thanks for talking to us. Have a great night.
I blame you too.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to an interesting race meeting this evening. Two sides that look very different from that we've seen in the past. And who knows, I guess we throw the form book away. And I expect as we speak, Graham will be up in the commentary position, calculating the figures and working out who will be doing what. Well, we'll have to see as the heats unfold. We'll go to those next and join Graham.
Thank you, Nigel, and we have an intriguing Elite League B fixture here between the Pirates and the Silver Machine from Oxford, with two team lineups which have changed almost out of recognition since they met earlier in the seasons, and since when, of course, the Pirates have gone to the top of the table. They did so partly courtesy of a clean sweep against Oxford in their A matches, having won at home by 12 points and up at Cowley by 8 points. Could be very different tonight, though, with lineups having changed considerably. No Tony Ricards and David Rude, or unfortunately Björn Pedersen, the two Swedes racing in domestic competition. Björn Pedersen unfortunately injured. Changes on the Oxford side, and a new face in heat number 1 for them in Andy Smith, making his comeback to Elite League Racing, and he lines up in the yellow helmet on gate 4. Inside of him we have Leigh ADAMS and rider replacement Krzysztof KASPRZAK for Poole. Completing the lineup in green on grid 2 is Todd WILTSHIRE, and Leigh ADAMS and Todd WILTSHIRE, the 2-star Aussies, fighting into the first bend. Krzysztof KASPRZAK coming up on the inside line, Todd WILTSHIRE on the outside. A little bit of heave-ho on the back straight there, sees the Oxford number 1 just get the better of the young Poole, but Pirates at this stage holding a 4-2 heat advantage with Leigh ADAMS, as he so often does, taking advantage of that inside start to lead comfortably into the race. Todd WILTSHIRE in second, Krzysztof KASPRZAK third, and Andy Smith's return to Elite League sees him trailing somewhat at the back. I'm sure he'll pick up the pace as the meeting goes on, but at this stage in the proceedings, with a lap and a bit to go, it's the Pirates holding a 4-2 heat advantage, with Krzysztof KASPRZAK still in close contention in third place, but having considerable trouble on the pit bend there, and it probably just as well that Andy Smith was well back from him, because KASPRZAK had a lot of difficulty holding on to it, but he did so, and 4-2 heat win to the Pirates to open the proceedings. When we go to heat 2, a little pause between races was for the benefit of Krzysztof KASPRZAK, who had that rider replacement race in heat 1. He's out for his scheduled reserve race in heat 2. He comes in on grid 2 in the red helmet. He's paired with Andrew Appleton, the guest reserve for Poole at number 7. Regularly rides for Reading in the Premier League, and of course with Kings Lynn and Sheffield competing in a Premier fixture this evening, that rules out both Andre Compton and Davy Watt. The pairing for Oxford, a strong-looking reserve pairing in the shape of Travis McGOWAN on grid 1 in the green helmet, and Charlie Gjedde, fresh from his appearance in the Grand Prix in Copenhagen on previous weekend. He rides from grid 3 in the yellow helmet. So Poole have certainly got their work cut out here to get anything out of this race. Let's see what happens as the tapes rise, and the dash into the first bend sees a good race start by Travis McGOWAN, allowing his partner in yellow, and that's Charlie Gjedde, to come up the inside, giving Oxford, as I suspected, a strong start. And in fact, Krzysztof KASPRZAK wants to do something about that with a fine pass on Travis McGOWAN, but unfortunately his tendency to drift out on the pits corner once again was highlighted that time, as once again Travis McGOWAN comes out and takes that second place back. Charlie Gjedde way out in front, nobody's going to catch him now, so it's just a question of whether KASPRZAK can once again spring a surprise on Travis McGOWAN. I think maybe Travis will be more wary of it this time, and he's pulling away with a lap to go. It's a 5-1 on the cards for the Silver Machine this time, as Oxford look to go into a 2-point advantage, half a lap to go. That looks very much the way of things. Unfortunately, right at the back, Andrew Appleton made no impression for Poole, and it means that with 2 races gone, a 5-1 to the visitors makes the scoreline Pirates 5 points, Oxford Silver Machine 7. Riders coming into line for heat 3. Let's see if the Pirates can do something about that reverse in the previous heat. They're trailing by 2 points. This time, regular number 3 Lukas DRYML is paired with guest number 4, taking the place of David Rood. That's Craig Watson. Opposition comes from Sebastian ULAMEK, and an old Pirates face from the 99 season, Matej FERJAN, who is part of the clean sweep, not completely clean sweep, but certainly significant changes on the Oxford side, which take effect from tonight, with Andy Smith and Matej FERJAN in. The biggest shocks still to come, but we'll save that one until the next race, as they come into line for heat 3. Craig Watson from the inside, just about holding on in the threat of a challenge from Sebastian ULAMEK, but right round the outside, Matej FERJAN gets a good first bend, and Lukas DRYML showing them all a clean pair of wheels out in front, so Pirates settling in at this stage to a 4-2 heat advantage. Lukas DRYML out in front. Matej FERJAN, their new signing, good start from him, promising an attacking first bend with a second place ahead of Craig Watson, and bring up the rear at this stage, somewhat surprisingly, the Grand Prix star Sebastian ULAMEK. ULAMEK closing on Craig Watson, Craig Watson sandwiched between the two Oxford riders. Matej FERJAN drifting extremely wide there on the turns 3 and 4, and Craig Watson coming closer into contention with just over half a lap to go. They're very tightly bunched for 2nd, 3rd and 4th places. Way out in front, Lukas DRYML. I think Pirates are certainly going to need his scoring power this evening, but with Craig Watson holding on to that 3rd place, it means that the match becomes all square once again, with a 4-2 heat win in favour of the Pirates. Scoreline now, Pirates 9 points, Oxford 9. Well, we talked about changes on the Oxford side. This is Heat 4, and the big sensation this week in Poole Speedway was the parting of the ways between Nicky Pedersen and Oxford Silver Machine. And what better replacement can you have than Greg Hancock, top quality former world champion, been out of the Elite League scene for a couple of seasons since the Grand Prix rule started previous season. He comes in and immediately makes his debut here this evening, having the ink hardly dry on the contract. Greg in the green helmet lines up on grid 4. His partner on grid 2, Charlie Gjedde, already a heat winner. And for Poole, in replace of Tony Ricardson, Scotty Nicholls, guest rider. And once again, we have Andrew Appleton in the blue helmet. And obviously they've got a little bit tangled in the tapes there, and the referee has elected to exclude Andrew Appleton for pushing into the tapes. And
in blue is excluded for touching the tapes.
We'll see what Neil Middleditch would like to do about that particular problem. So it's Krzysztof KASPRZAK who comes in to take the place of the excluded Andrew Appleton. KASPRZAK goes into grid 1. This is only Heat 4, and this is his 3rd ride. So I think we can safely say, with the Pirates being short, that we're going to see him have his full quota of 7 as they come into line, and away they go. And it's a good start once again for Charlie Gjedde, and in fact Scott Nicholls stuck right at the very back of the field here. This is Greg Hancock and Charlie Gjedde in the lead for Oxford Silver Machine. Krzysztof KASPRZAK in 3rd place, and unfortunately for Poole, Scotty Nicholls stuck right at the back. In fact, Krzysztof KASPRZAK seems to be bulking him somewhat, and I have a feeling that this is the way it's going to turn out this evening, with unpredictable racing. And unfortunately for Poole, it's the Oxford Silver Machine who are leading the race. They've got a trump card in their reserve, Charlie Gjedde. I don't think Poole in the middle or lower order are going to have anything at all to match him. What is more concerning, though, is that Scotty Nicholls, although he's obviously giving it 100%, his bike seems to be totally down on power. The setup's obviously not as we would expect, and he looked well at sea there, and maybe on paper Scott Nicholls a good replacement for Tony Ricardson, but in that particular race not proving to be the case. Oxford take maximum points by 5 points to 1 and lead now by 14 points to 10. So the Pirates up against the wall with their 3 absentees here this evening. The balance of the team considerably upset. It'll be down to riders of the calibre of Lukas DRYML to keep the top of the table position consolidated, but certainly got their work cut out. There's a possibility of a Pirates heat win this time if they can get out of the starting gates. Lukas DRYML showed he could do that in his first race with a win. His partner in the blue helmet this time, but with the difficulty of the grid 4 position, is Craig Watson. And for the Silver Machine on gate 1 in the yellow helmet is Andy Smith, and the Oxford skipper Todd WILTSHIRE in the green helmet goes from grid 3. So an intriguing battle in prospect here this evening, as Lukas DRYML makes no mistakes on entry into the first corner, but Craig Watson comes through superbly to challenge the Oxford pairing and goes around the outside of Andy Smith. Todd WILTSHIRE at the back, and could this be a much needed 5-1 to the Pirates? Craig Watson certainly pulled out a wonderful first man that time, very brave indeed. He went around the outside of the Oxford riders, split them, and this time we'll see another tough bend there on turn 3 and 4 with Andy Smith nearly going through the fence. Unfortunately for Poole, though, and for Craig Watson, it's Todd WILTSHIRE who comes through to take 2nd place. Craig Watson has been relegated to 3rd, and Andy Smith this time making a similar challenge on the inside, and with a lap to go, Pirates holding a 4-2, but Craig Watson under considerable pressure. as half a lap to go. Lukas DRYML absolutely a mile in front. Everything on that last place as Andy Smith once again has another harum-scarum last bend, and in fact makes a strong challenge. But I think that Craig Watson just held on to that. So what looked to be a 5-1 was the situation retrieved, if you're an Oxford supporter, by Todd WILTSHIRE, their skipper, who took second place. So the 4-2 to the Poole means a scoreline 14 to the Pirates and 16 to the Silver Machine. On to race number 6. The margin between the two teams pulled back to 2 points then, with the Pirates on 14, Oxford 16. Work cut out for the Pirates this time, with Leigh ADAMS in the red helmet, moving from grid 3. And the rider replacement ride this time is the number 7 rider, guesting this evening, Andrew Appleton. Let's hope that Andrew's nerves can be contained this time. Last time you saw him jump the tapes and earn an exclusion, but he's back in this time, again on grid 1. Pairing for Oxford is new signing Greg Hancock and their number 6, Travis McGOWAN. So Leigh ADAMS, between Travis McGOWAN and Greg Hancock, will be looking to ride captain's role in this race as the tapes fly up. And away they go, but it's Greg Hancock that's made the jump. In fact, Leigh ADAMS seems to, well, Leigh ADAMS seems to have got off to a poor start. The reason being red light and an unsatisfactory start. So they're coming back into line. Leigh ADAMS it was who acknowledged that he was perhaps just on the move that time, and the referee saw fit to pull all 4 riders back. Nobody actually touched the tapes. Just maybe one of those starting situations that you get in Speedway. So Leigh ADAMS then just composing himself, moving back into the grid 3 position. So there's extra responsibility on his shoulders here this evening because of the absence of the regular skipper Tony Rickardson. Rickardson and David Rood scheduled to ride in Sweden. Ironically, that Swedish Best Pairs event, which is a mandatory event for those riders, was at the last minute rained off. So unfortunately for everybody, the situation somewhat less than one would really have liked. Obviously, Rickardson and Rood would have liked to have been racing, and if they weren't racing in Sweden, the Pirates management would have loved to have had them here. Neither is happening, so that's a lose-lose situation. Well, we're certainly taking our time to get the riders sorted out for the start of Heat 6, and clearly Leigh ADAMS wasn't happy with the starting position of Greg Hancock. A little too close for comfort. Now they're being put into line and under orders, and away they go with Greg Hancock once again, first away. And Andrew Appleton tucked in second, and the number 6 rider for Oxford, who is Travis McGOWAN, back trailing in last place. So now Greg Hancock and Leigh ADAMS, 2 Grand Prix stars, and Leigh ADAMS making a strong challenge on the inside. Hancock just holding off that challenge. A useful 3rd place currently being held by Andrew Appleton, but coming under some pressure from Travis McGOWAN. So Greg Hancock from Leigh ADAMS. Leigh ADAMS trying the Tony Rickardson line right around the outside, gets plenty of drive, catches right up again, but not the advantage that he might have expected. And with a lap to go, it's still Greg Hancock from Leigh ADAMS. Leigh ADAMS trying everything he knows now to catch the Californian, and a wonderful pass by Leigh ADAMS. What a superb pass that was to go through with half a lap to go. Andrew Appleton still holding on to 3rd place ahead of Travis McGOWAN, but going to be a close one on the line, and Appleton holds on to 3rd place, so maybe not anticipated a heat win there, but superb ride by Leigh ADAMS to pass, great speedway to pass Greg Hancock, and an equally promising 3rd place from Andrew Appleton. The scores all level again, 18 apiece. Classic speedway here at Poole Stadium. So it's all square, 18 apiece as we move on to race number 7, and we've just got our breath back from that wonderful race by Leigh ADAMS in Heat 6. We're hoping that Scotty Nicholls has got his 1 dud race of the evening out of the way in Heat 4. Hopefully pit crew have been attending to the machine and have got it set up for a winning race this time. He's Scotty in the red helmet on grid 2. He's between Sebastian ULAMEK in the green helmet on the inside position, and new signing Matej FERJAN in the yellow helmet on grid 3. Completing the lineup for good measure, coming out for his 4th outing. He's got 3 third places so far. Krzysztof KASPRZAK. And if Scotty Nicholls can pull off a win and Krzysztof gets consistent 3rd place, that'll be enough to put the Pirates back in front in this match. As away they go, and indeed Scotty Nicholls gets a great gate there on the first bend, but unfortunately KASPRZAK stuck at the back as Matej FERJAN once again blasts around into 2nd place, but Sebastian ULAMEK currently in 3rd place. Krzysztof KASPRZAK right at the back there, not making any pressure from the gate 4 position. So his run of 3rd places looks as if it's going to end, but of course there's still half the race to go. Fortunately for the Pirates, Scotty Nicholls looks a lot more comfortable out in front where we expected him to be there, with a very aggressive start, good first bend, and comfortably in front. And that's where the Wimborne Road faithful will be hoping he stays for the remainder of his races this evening, because certainly Pirates cannot afford any more slips at the top end of their heat leader trio. Half a lap to go then. Scotty Nicholls doing the business. Matej FERJAN lively in 2nd place. Sebastian ULAMEK in 3rd, and tailing off in 4th, Krzysztof KASPRZAK. A drawn race. Scoreline moves: Poole Pirates 21 and the Oxford Silver Machine 21. Coming into line then for race number 8, the rider replacement for Poole in place of Jan Pedersen is Craig Watson, his partner Andrew Appleton. Pirates will be keeping their fingers crossed that they can have at least a share of the spoils this time. They come out against Andy Smith in the green helmet, and the unbeaten reserve, who's looking pretty powerful at this stage, and that's Charlie Gjedde. So the Pirates can earn a drawn race off the outside starting gate this time. They will feel as if they've done justice to the race. Anything less could put them under pressure as the heats progress in this match, and Oxford grow in confidence. Off they go then, and Andy Smith does in fact make a good gate from 3, and it's Andrew Appleton who balks him, and Andy Smith takes a tumble going down the back straight. At this stage in the proceedings, he's obviously not going to get up in time, and the referee is going to put the lights on. On go the red lights. It looked very much to me as if that was a racing incident. Whether or not he's going to be back in, I don't know. But on goes the light. He's excluded, and the race is going to be rerun with Andy Smith's exclusion. So it's Heat 8, 2nd attempt. Heat 8, the restart, and my earlier concern that Pirates will be looking to get a share of the spoils is going to come to fruition this time, because there's 3 riders only. 2 of them are Poole riders, and only 1 is from Oxford. With Andy Smith's exclusion, Charlie Gjedde the sole representative, but it could be all that they need in order to win the race, because he seems to be pretty invincible. Not only did he win the reserves race in Heat 2, but he also recorded a notable win in that 5-1 victory over Scott Nicholls and Krzysztof KASPRZAK. So in hot form, the Dane, fresh from the Grand Prix, and here he is in his 3rd ride in Heat 8. I'm pretty certain that he'll be adding to that scheduled 4-race programme. But tapes go up on the race. Andrew Appleton shows him exactly how to gate, but unfortunately drifts off the line, allowing Gjedde to come through into 1st place. And the 2 Pirates left trailing in his wake, with Andrew Appleton in the blue on the outside and Craig Watson in the red on the inside line. So Charlie Gjedde, having been gated on the first bend, as soon as he got a little gap on the pits turn, he was away and comfortably leading the 2 Pirates here. I don't think for one moment that Craig Watson's going to make the slightest bit of impression, so barring a mistake from the young Dane, I think we have indeed going to have a share of the spoils. And as they come round to take the yellow flag with a lap to go, it's going to move the scoreline along after 8 races to Poole 21, Oxford 21. So that exclusion to Andy Smith allows the Pirates to stay level, and they're fighting a rearguard action as the powerful-looking Oxford team with their new riders has come here to Wimborne Road this evening, determined to try and plunder the points from the home side. Tense battle then moves on to race number 9, which brings out Lukas DRYML with 2 wins to his credit, but he's got the challenging grid 4 to contend with, and top quality opponent in the shape of Greg Hancock, and Greg in the green helmet lines up from the inside. The race is completed with Craig Watson, busy rider for Poole, 2 races on the trot here, having just taken a 2nd place in Heat 8. Craig in grid 2 in the blue helmet, and we've got Travis McGOWAN in the yellow helmet going from grid 3. So all eyes for Poole will be on that gating prowess of Lukas DRYML. Not always there, he gets a lot of his points the hard way, but this evening Lukas has been absolutely flying, and be looking for more of the same this time. But Greg Hancock could, as we saw in that earlier race with Leigh ADAMS, prove quite a difficult opponent to pass. So an intriguing racing prospect in Heat 9 as tapes go up, and Lukas DRYML does get a superb race off the outside, and Greg Hancock moving him right out in the dirt, and Craig Watson getting up on the inside of Travis McGOWAN to win the battle of the young Aussies. Craig Watson then in 3rd, Lukas DRYML up in 2nd place behind Greg Hancock. Greg Hancock the race winner as they come around to complete 2 laps. Lukas DRYML trying the inside because his favourite outside lane position is taken by Greg Hancock. And in fact, Lukas not really making a terribly much impression on the American star, and with a lap to go it looks very much as if they're getting a little bit strung out now, and it looks like another drawn race in prospect. Maybe had Lukas DRYML been a little bit sharper from the start, he might have had a chance of winning this one, but Greg Hancock is coming up to take the checkered flag. Lukas not far behind at the end there. Craig Watson, though, the valuable 3rd place. Drawn race keeps it all square, and it's deadlocked at 27 points to Poole, 27 to Oxford. Well, Heat 10, and it's the final rider replacement ride for the injured Bjarne Pedersen. So far, 3 points have been gained from the previous 3 races. Pirates fans will be happy if that achievement was doubled in this one, because in comes number 3, Lukas DRYML, and he pairs up with Leigh ADAMS. So 5-1 this time would be just a tonic for the Pirates as they face the closing heat, but they got to be lively because with the advantage of the inside starting positions, we've got a pairing of Sebastian ULAMEK and Matej FERJAN. Matej FERJAN in particular has been pretty lively this evening, and he's got the inside start. So as the tapes rise on this one, Leigh ADAMS from the outside, and Lukas DRYML rears alarmingly on that one, but manages to keep it under control, and he's tucked back there in 3rd place. But as I anticipated, Matej FERJAN out to make a big impression with his new employers at Oxford, and he's leading Leigh ADAMS with half the race gone. Leigh ADAMS is going to try the inside tap because, as we know, Matej FERJAN likes to blast around the outside here, and Leigh ADAMS so far not making very much impression. The Pirates would have very much liked to have challenged a little more closely and got a 5-1 out of this, but with a lap to go they'll be lucky to get a heat win out of it, because Matej FERJAN looks comfortable out in front, and Leigh ADAMS trying everything. He's already made a pass on Greg Hancock, but I don't think he's going to do it because Matej FERJAN's got plenty of horsepower there, and as they come up to take the checkered flag, it's a very close finish. But Matej FERJAN will be very pleased with that, and Nigel Wagstaff will be thinking that he's made just the signing that the Oxford Silver Machine wanted, and a drawn race that time negates the rider replacement of Lukas DRYML. Only a share of the spoils. Pirates would have expected more. The score still dead level, 30 points apiece. So at 30 points apiece, we move on to race 11. It's pretty tense stuff here. Top of the table Pirates look distinctly in trouble against a very strong Oxford team. What a time to track your most depleted team of the season, and Neil Middleditch must be scratching his head wondering he's going to pull this one out, but it's still level. We've got Scotty Nicholls in red, Krzysztof KASPRZAK in blue on grids 1 and 3. We've got Todd WILTSHIRE in green on the wide outside, but the tactical masterstroke here by Nigel Wagstaff is to bring in the unbeaten reserve, 3 races, 3 wins, Charlie Gjedde, and he's in the yellow helmet and he goes from grid 2. Poole would expect that Scott Nicholls would hold off the challenge of Gjedde, but that certainly remains to be seen what... well, having said that, it looks as if it's immediately proved me wrong, and once again Gjedde has got the jump on Scotty Nicholls, and not only that, the rider in green, Todd WILTSHIRE, comes in to take second place. So the last thing Poole wanted in this one was to see Scotty Nicholls right at the back, and at this stage he's not looking particularly comfortable on the track, and he's trailing quite badly. Charlie Gjedde out in front for potentially his 4th win of the evening. Todd WILTSHIRE in second place, and Krzysztof KASPRZAK trailing at the back. So at a vital stage of the match as we come up to the interval, this is heat 11, and Oxford look as if they could go 4 points in front. Scotty Nicholls still making no impression on either of these Oxford riders, and worryingly with Scotty due out once again in the critical heat 13. He's not looking quite at his sharpest. He's had a last place, he then had a first place, but then he trails in behind the 2 opposition riders in heat 11, and it means that the Pirates now face a 4-point deficit. So a reminder, the interval score was Poole Pirates 31, Oxford 35, a rejuvenated Silver Machine, and they could pose even more of a threat in heat 12 because they make another use of their very talented reserve rider, Charlie Gjedde, who's coming up for his 5th ride. He's had 4 wins already, including a couple at the expense of Scotty Nicholls, and he comes in heat 12, when the Pirates will be hoping that their number 3 rider, Lukas DRYML, in the red helmet, with the advantage of the inside start, will be able to take a race win here. They need at the very least to draw the spoils here, and Lucas's partner is Andrew Appleton, and the rider in green, Sebastian ULAMEK. And indeed it is Lukas DRYML who clearly leads the Oxford pairing, and Charlie Gjedde is tasting shale for the first time this evening, but sadly for Poole, their young rider, number 7, guessing Andrew Appleton, is training at the back, so a drawn race was all that was really realistically expected here, and that's exactly how it's turning out to be, with Lukas DRYML 2 laps down, 2 to go, clear leader out in front, and this is going to leave the Oxford Silver Machine still 4 points in the lead, with only 3 or 4 heats remaining. In fact, there'll be 3 heats remaining, including the nominated riders after this, and it's going to move the scoreline along to Poole 34, Oxford 38. So the key heats 13, 14 and 15 are going to be all important, as Lukas DRYML takes the checkered flag to win heat 12 ahead of Charlie Gjedde and Sebastian ULAMEK. Well, the Pirates trailing by 4 points, and with a distinctly shall we say weak-looking race in heat 14 in prospect. It's very much up to this evening's skipper Leigh ADAMS and their guest rider number 5 Scotty Nicholls in the blue helmet on grid 4 to make an impression on Oxford Silver Machine this time. Nothing less than a heat win of some description here will realistically keep the Pirates in with a shout of the league points, but they're facing Todd WILTSHIRE in green. Fast starting Todd moves from the inside grid, so that's going to be quite a difficult prospect for Leigh ADAMS to contend with, and if that wasn't enough, it's Greg Hancock on grid 3 in yellow. So a match to grace any Grand Prix anywhere in the world, but it's here at Wimborne Road, and it's for elite league points, and away they go. Todd WILTSHIRE has made an excellent start, so has Scotty Nicholls around the outside, and Todd WILTSHIRE is under challenge by Scott Nicholls, and both Pirates look as if they're going to pull off a 5-1 here. What a wonderful first bend that was for Leigh ADAMS and Scotty Nicholls. They were so determined to take the spoils, and it looks very much as if this is going to square things up. Leigh ADAMS was so determined from grid 2. He didn't actually make the jump on Todd WILTSHIRE, but he just kept the power screwed on, and he's leading the race with Scotty Nicholls holding that all-important second, but Greg Hancock is in close order in 3rd place, so Scotty Nicholls must maintain that advantage. It's a lap to go. Out in front in a comfortable lead is Leigh ADAMS, but Scotty Nicholls not looking all comfortable, and Greg Hancock is challenging him on the last bend and is still looking for 3rd place, but unfortunately for Oxford, and to the great relief of the Wimborne Road faithful, Scotty Nicholls just holds on despite that strong challenge, and I think we're going to see a lap of honour this time, and I think we're going to see the whole of the grandstand here at Wimborne Road on their feet for this acclaim, as the Pirates square it off once again at 39 points apiece. It's still not by any means won, because there's 2 difficult races to come, but up go the crowd, on go the air horns, and that brilliant ride from Leigh ADAMS and equally tenacious Scotty Nicholls square the match off, 39 points apiece, everything to ride for.
Less than 60 seconds.
So the penultimate heat of this tense battle here at Wimborne Road between Poole and Oxford. The scoreline is all level, thanks to that great 5-1 from the Leigh ADAMS Scotty Nicholls pairing, but ominous signs for Poole this time, because the pairing for Oxford, very strong looking pairing. They've been in very lively form so far this evening. Matej FERJAN, who has had a win and a couple of good seconds. He's in the green helmet, and Charlie Gjedde lining out against Craig Watson in red and Krzysztof KASPRZAK on grid 1 in blue. And would you believe it, KASPRZAK and Watson get out in front on the first bend, but KASPRZAK loses it. But Craig Watson comes through to lead the race, but he's going to have to be in sharp form, because he's got those 2 Oxford riders right on his tail. Charlie Gjedde looking menacing on the inside, and Matej FERJAN blasting around the outside. Craig Watson could be a hero for Poole, but it looks as if Matej FERJAN is mounting an outside challenge, goes right round the Aussie rider for Poole, and Charlie Gjedde looking to do the same thing on the inside. And Krzysztof KASPRZAK is not far adrift on the inside. In fact, he's trying to challenge Gjedde, and with a lap to go, this is absolutely crucial for Poole, because Craig Watson holding on to that vital second. Matej FERJAN out in the lead, half a lap to go. Will Gjedde mount an inside challenge? It's certainly a 4-2 to Oxford with a quarter of a lap to go. Could put Oxford 2 points ahead with a lap to go, with a race to go, that is. And Oxford lead by 2 points. Craig Watson holds on to that vital second place, so the only chance for the Pirates to take the league points here is a maximum 5-1 in heat 15. That's a big ask, but we've got Leigh ADAMS, we've got Lukas DRYML, and we've got Scotty Nicholls. Neil Middleditch will have to get his thinking cap on as how he's going to work that one, but the Pirates do need a 5-1 to win the match. So it's on to the all-important nominated riders, heat 15. No real surprises about the selection by the 2 team managers, with Poole tracking Lukas DRYML in red. And fortunately for Poole, they've won the toss for grid positions and immediately took inside gates, and Lukas is going from the inside position. Alongside him in green is Greg Hancock, the choice for Oxford, and the skipper for Poole this evening, Leigh ADAMS, who's had 4 races, 3 wins, and some superb racing from him this evening, but he's going to be called upon to repeat that, I'm sure, here in heat 15. He goes from grid 3, and the scourge of Wimborne Road here this evening with 10 points from 4 rides on his reintroduction, his first 2003 racing here in Britain, Matej FERJAN. So Matej FERJAN and Greg Hancock, who between them have consistently caused problems for the Pirates. Are they going to deny the Pirates 2 league points, which would maintain their position and consolidate it at the top of the table? So it's quite clear then, a 5-1 only here would give all the league points to Poole. A 4-2 would cause the race to be drawn, and a 3-3 or a heat advantage to Oxford would give them the points. Everything to ride for. Tension mounting here as the tapes go up, and away they go with Greg Hancock putting himself about on the first bend, but Leigh ADAMS and Lukas DRYML move into a 5-1 race position with Leigh ADAMS on the outside, Lukas DRYML on the inside, Greg Hancock in close attention. Greg Hancock fighting that first bend, but it looked to me very much as if the Pirates were so determined, but Greg Hancock still racing against Lukas DRYML as if the league title itself depended on it, and Leigh ADAMS out in front and Lukas DRYML in second place. This is the only score line in this race that would give the Pirates the league points, and there's going to be a roof lifted off this grandstand here if, with a lap to go, the 2 Pirates can maintain this 5-1 heat advantage. Greg Hancock is still there, back in the 4th place, his most disappointing ride of the evening, Matej FERJAN, but up goes the checkered flag. Leigh ADAMS and Lukas DRYML, the hero for the depleted Pirates team here this evening, and it's a win by the narrowest of margins, 46 points to 44. And just look at this crowd here. This has set the whole stadium alight, and around they come for that standing ovation, which they thoroughly deserve. Leigh ADAMS, we've seen this before this season, how often this rider from Middleditch, Australia, can lift the Pirates here with absolutely scintillating performance. Lukas DRYML, the young Czech that has established himself as a firm favourite here at Wimborne Road. They are the heroes once again. It's a last heat decider. They didn't have Tony Ricardson to lead the team this evening, and obviously with him absent, it made a big difference to the point scoring potential of the Poole side. But Leigh ADAMS and Lukas DRYML are the heroes of the evening, and the Pirates move further up the Elite League table to 39 points. They're now 8 points ahead of their nearest rivals, Peterborough, and with a mouth-watering clash against 3rd place Coventry in 7 days' time. It's really top of the table stuff here at Wimborne Road.
They love you. They love you. They must love us. We did a good job. I think was straight up tonight, and we are all pleased that we did it. It was really hard to race against the other guys because we missed a few riders, which is a shame that we have to miss them. But we still made a very good work, and that's very pleased, you know.
I was going to say, the choice of 1 and 3 off of heat number 15, you and Leigh are having big discussions. Did you want 1 or did you want 3, or didn't you really care?
I didn't really mind. I think it was Middleditch decision, and I think he knows something about Speedway. He's a pretty good manager, so he decided for us, and it worked, so it's very good.
What about the atmosphere, Lucas?
It was very great. Thanks for cheering for us, and come next time again, please.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen, Lukas DRYML! I mean, yes, worse and worse from the tense moment, but heat number 15, what's your thoughts going to the tapes?
Well, what can you do? You know, I had the outside and knew I had to get across Greg, and you know, fortunately enough, Lukas popped out the inside there, and we got the 5-1. But you know, hard work. The boys did really good tonight. They're a powerhouse team, Oxford now, and you know, it was unfortunate that we sort of met them on the hop, really, or a new team. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with from now on. So good to get one over them, and let's just soldier on for that league title.
That's what it's all about. It's 2 points in the bag with a depleted side, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, obviously we missed Tony, but you know, no disrespect, all did a good job. So all did the job they needed to do. So fingers crossed, we'll get back a full team and just take on Coventry next week.
It's a biggie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's obviously they want revenge after going there and beating them. So you know, we'll just have to work hard.
Lovely to talk to you again, Leigh. Congratulations, marvellous night. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for the main man in heat number 50, Leigh ADAMS. Lovely. And of course, management playing their part in
Well, it doesn't get any more nail-biting than that, with a 2-point victory to the Pirates and another last heat decider. Well, you can't say that we're not being served up some exciting speedway here at Poole Stadium in 2003. And indeed, in that last heat 15, it was the Pirates regulars, Leigh ADAMS and Lukas DRYML, who got the Pirates out of trouble with that magnificent 5-1. Well, there's more racing to come, of course. This is just the first instalment in our 6th edition of Pirate Videos. Stay with us and remember to keep watching.